Hi, it's Kiffin Labates here, and the fourth video in a series on central bank digital currencies. So what I want to look at today is what is the impact going to be on ordinary people like you and me if a central bank starts issuing currency in a digital form rather than in a physical form. And I think by the time they get round to doing this, and by the time physical cash has effectively gone the way of the dinosaurs, very little actually, because central banks are dealing with commercial banks and they're dealing with governments. They're not interested in dealing with individual consumers, ordinary members of the public, because that would involve stepping on the toes of the commercial banks, and that's their sector. So I don't see anytime soon central banks issuing digital currency that you and I can actually own and trade. I think that's going to be a fair way off. However, it may come to pass in the end, maybe for large investors, in the same way that there are restrictions on what allows you to be an investor in, say, securities, for example. In America, there are restrictions that you have to have a certain amount of wealth, you have to be able to afford losses that ordinary people would not be able to. So, however, what is going to happen if there is no physical cash anymore? Well, I think that's going to be the point where we switch to the custodial digital cash, where everybody is going to be using a payment processor such as the credit card companies or the banks or the money transmitters, the PayPals, Visas, MasterCards, and the high street banks. And I actually don't think that time is too far off. I do think that physical cash is certainly going to disappear in my lifetime. It's just not efficient. However, this does come with some problems, because it means that everything is going to be more and more traceable. But again, I have a belief that that's the way the world is going, and there's not really much you and I can do about that. Anyway, that's video 4, and I think the final one is coming up next. I think it'll be the last one. Bye for now.